Yeah. Hopefully, none of them are sleeping now.
Yeah,
It's a good food
already
in
have
the
a
afternoon,
coffee
right?
breaks, I guess. So, okay, so I guess we'll just get started. Thank you for your time today. Today we're going to talk about the AI-powered chatbots and in correlation to WhatsApp, and of course how to utilizing all this through Ramadan. First of all, I would like to talk about just before this session, it was mentioned that in Indonesia that the market is actually already confident with AI, right? And also I found some statistics that the increase of using AI is actually already almost 20% in Indonesia. With all the discussion previously, and it's how it's obviously affecting the marketing in industry. So first of all, I think I would like to get a little deep understanding more about from Mr. Shankar and Mr. Roy about GupShop and also Mo Engage itself.
Thank you very much. I think it's an apt topic. I think globally, everybody's onto an intersection point where, if you actually recall 20 odd years ago, it was internet which changed the world. Now it is AI which is changing the world. And the GupShop plays a role in this in terms of we provide conversational cloud platform for AI. And WhatsApp is one of the channels which we use, and we have an omni-channel presence. And it'll be amazing how we converse with machines, and you need a tool to converse with machines, and that's where GupShop comes in. And we have about 45,000 customers globally who use our platform. We are also one of the largest business BSP, which they call it, Meta calls it, for WhatsApp providers. We're also launching RCS in the market, which is Google messaging. Predominantly, we are in the conversational AI space, and we see this space growing phenomenally. I mean, today everybody engages with each other on WhatsApp, and we play a substantial role in that.
It's interesting, like all the conversational omni-channel that connects us all actually. How about from Mr. Roy?
So think of us like the engine that actually fuel when you're doing an analysis. So to understand the customer's behavior, their intent, and at the end of the day, you can actually predict. So the previous speaker is talking about first-party data, right? So right now, a lot of brands are actually going towards having the first-party data. And having that first-party data, meaning that they have their own apps, they have their own website. The old days where relying 100% on the marketplace has gone now, because now it's about how can you own those data. But the question is always about, once you got that data, once you got that, you understand that behavior, what you're going to do about it. So it comes to the second part of Mo Engages, that you can do actually segmentations. Then you can, at the end of the day, you can do the personalizations. Now, having said that, WhatsApp, which is, I think, the predominant channel of communication in Indonesia, are part of the 11 channels that you can actually engage with your audiences. And Mo Engage as a global company, where right now we've been in Indonesia for 5 years now. We have around 140 clients. Around 40% of it is actually BFSI. Some of the largest e-commerce in Indonesia actually runs on Mo Engage. So they can do an analysis, and what's important is to do personalization. I love the conversation that I had. We're talking about hyper-personalizations. So through that medium, through WhatsApp medium, then we can do hyper-personalizations, or to other means of medium channel you can communicate with them. So we are a global company. One of our clients globally is Citibank. Citibank is one of our clients from the bank. So you can sense that that means you need to have more personalizations that happens with your customers.
So to recap, actually, it's like it's not just about the data, because from the data that we get, the human experience itself, it's all need to be analyzed for the next predictive conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
Without the experience, you don't get the data. Without the data, you don't get experience. So
Exactly.
Combination of these two is what makes a great product to have an AI work properly,
Exactly.
right? And AI is predominantly has to have data. The LLM, the large language models, has learned from so much data, and that data has to be consumed, and you have the front end communication which happens. If you look at OpenAI, you have a single window, you have ask a question, right? You need that, right? You need to communicate with an AI for it to respond.
Exactly. So just like also mentioned in the earlier discussion about how it's actually machine learning, and still it doesn't replace humans. It actually needs humans. We still need the interactions and like to get the idea of about this person. So the next one is, I think I want to talk more about how actually from Gapshot itself is more into a conversational omni-channel, and also from Roy, more engaged with the customer segmentation itself. So how about those two things like collaborate together?
Yeah, so let me give you a simple example, right? I always tell when I meet a new person, all right, I usually take a selfie, I say I'm a WhatsApp away, right? As a simple statement, I'm a WhatsApp away. And I can have a personal conversation with the end customer. So imagine you flip it to an SME or a brand or a business, and imagine that business is having a one-on-one conversation with the customer. So there are so many use cases around that. Now, we are the funnel, top of the funnel, because we engage with the customer. The experience is provided by Gupshup on a WhatsApp channel or any other channel. And that data which comes in, business uses platforms like MoEngage, understands the customer behavior there, feeds the data back, and Gupshup engages the experience in the front. So that's the combination of, I would say, Gupshup and MoEngage working together. We work with several customers who leverage both our platforms.
So basically, it's like in collaboration of Gupshup and MoEngage that we can actually understand better the audience and also conveying the message, any kind of maybe promotional from the brands itself.
Yeah, so the intelligence of the brand's campaigns when it's pushed, it's with MoEngage. I mean, Roy can comment on that. But the engagement with the customer and the top of the funnel and understanding who the customer is, that funnel, that data is coming through Gupshup. It's one of the use cases.
Yeah, just to add what Shankar was mentioning. So this is, I would say, a feedback loop. So it's not one way, actually. So it's a feedback
Absolutely.
loop. So you start, imagine right now, I think everybody here are being notified by your apps, right? Some push notification happens. So that behind of that engine sits like MoEngage. Right? If you probably have some push notification coming from video or from Blibli or from Excel, it's actually powered by MoEngage. So how does that happen is basically we understand the behavior of that particular customers. So once you understand what is Roy doing in the particular apps, from the minute he's installing that apps and the journey that he had in that apps or in that web throughout that customer's life journey, and then he make transactions, there's many tons of information and data, right? And what MoEngage helps is basically, and helps marketers actually, it's efficiently and helps the marketers to understand, based on the first party data, what is actually Roy is doing. I think everyone here doesn't like when you are receiving a message that is not personalized to you. It's become a generic message, right? So what happened is that when we do this analysis and you do the segmentations and marketers can automate it, then it can decide also, or should I say that predict, that, for instance, Shankar doesn't like to be sent at 11 o'clock in the morning. He preferred to be sent the message at 1. So what happened is that you know what will be the best time to send, best channel to use, and at the end of it, actually you can start understanding what's the best content to use. That's a feedback loop happens. So like for instance, if I send a message to Shankar, and Shankar didn't open it, then it's a feedback loop saying that that message from a content perspective doesn't work for Shankar. At the same time, if like for instance, I send a message on a WhatsApp channel, and this is one way first before going to conversational chat, is send that message, a feedback loop back into MoEngage saying that actually Shankar doesn't like to open at 2 o'clock. So then the marketers become more efficient at what they're doing and start predicting to which best and most cost efficient. So the notions that people saying, oh, WhatsApp is the highest cost for communication channel, with more engaged, it can help minimize that you don't send the total mass messages, but it becomes understanding that Shankars only want to be sent at certain particular time and certain channels.
So conversation tools are very instant for instant gratification, right? So if a marketing message is sent, you'll find immediately how the customers react. So you can build intelligent workflows around it using the AI tools, so that data is captured very nicely, and then you have built a personalization model for that particular customer.
Actually, it's quite interesting that you mentioned earlier also about the customer life journey. That actually brings me to the next question, to like how actually like AI powered WhatsApp chatbots is that important to changing like behavior in the customers and our customers itself. It's like because out of all the channels out there, you also mentioned that the customers, like they have so many informations, right? Like how do we bring this this technology that we have, this AI powered WhatsApp chatbots, to integrate the whole business strategy and actually move forward with the closing in?
Shall I take it? Okay. So when we talk about AI in the conversational perspective, firstly, how do you communicate? What language do you communicate? How do you interact with your customer, right? So you design those workflows, right? If a customer asks something in Bahasa, you should be able to respond in Bahasa and logically respond in Bahasa, right? And to do that, you need to have enough intelligence, enough your technology to be able to translate, and not just literate, like communicate in the local lingo, right? So AI plays a lot of a big role in that in terms of communication. Then you have capturing the data in terms of how they interact with whatever the workflow you have created, and based on that, you have your AI models running. How do you respond to that particular customer? It can be for marketing, it can be for commerce, it can be for support. We see a lot of utilization of AI in support function, because support function is either customer is happy, the sentiment you capture. If they are happy, you react differently. If you know that customer is not happy with a particular instance, and he's really mad at the services which has been provided, how do you react to it? I think we are in the early stages of AI. We are trying to respond. Now, as we go along, it'll still get better and better. So I see AI being used, especially on the conversational bot. We saw early days, before OpenAI came about, or the large language model and the new tools which have come out. It used to be very structured. You had a workflow, and the response bots' response used to be not great. Now we have Gen AI embedded into our WhatsApp channels, where if you can ask any random question, it'll respond. But it needs to be trained. It needs to be very contextual to a particular business, right? I mean, if it's travel, if it's airlines, and I need to answer typically to that function, right? I can't answer something else. So I think there's a lot of what I call is nuances to the AI, and our biggest challenge AI today faces, and which I'm hoping that will get resolved very soon, and this is the biggest challenge we have: hallucination. AI, I mean, today as the Gen AI and the large language models are being put in, and as more and more usage is happening, AI can hallucinate, So you got to control that as well. So it's data in, whatever data you provide, and how the data is presented, and in a conversational channel. So all the combination of all these I see is evolving, growing, and that is going to become much more personalized, and then it's going to have a lot more data about a customer.
It's actually interesting that you also mentioned about the AI hallucination. I think I want to have a follow-up question on that. Maybe Roy can jump in on this. Like, what are the challenges actually? Because we're talking about the tech itself, right? What are usually the main challenges that when we're doing this AI-powered WhatsApp chatbots?
So I'm not going to take part of the AI WhatsApp part. So I'm going to talk about the AI part. There's a trend that people says that now everything is powered by AI. Being a devil advocate, it creates a laziness. like I said, right, it's become a hallucination in a point, right? That we believe that AI actually can replace human, and I'm sorry to say to everyone here, then we become lazy at what we need to do. We highly dependent on the AI that will solve your problem. So going back when we talk about AI, it's machine learning that get advanced. It's a learning mechanisms. It's a learning mechanism based on the behavior, certain information or data that are being feed to that particular machine, right? But what missing is still, and this is what I've seen, is that we highly depend on the AI that we forgot that there's a human touch to it when you start communicating. And that means you need to think about the creativity works there. So I always say that when the AI comes the picture is actually coming back to that triangle to saying that people process technology. This component needs to work hand in hand very closely. When we experience implementing an AI in a customer side, right, there are certain too high expectation that it will solve the problem. One of the problems they think that it will solve the problem, it will solve the customer's problem. It will not solve the customer's problem. What it gives you is an efficient time and an insight or a predictive model to what kind of action that you need to take. Now, having said that, then you can then decide based on that feedback. Like, so for instance, the system is going to tell you the best time to send to Shankar is 11 o'clock. You might be stubborn saying, I don't care, I'm going to send it every day. So that's a human decision that take part of that. And the other part is saying that I'll leave it to the AI to decide whatever it's happen. But never happen like that. And it will not work like that. Even as a customer's engagement platform, what we provide is a means to the end. That's a neat feedback loop that happens. Something?
No, I just want to give a simple example of hallucination for a marketing. Imagine a coffee company sending a marketing campaign, and somebody says, "Okay, and types on an AI, and then AI, if it's not controlled, and it responds back with choices of tea." So it's as simple as that, you know. So. And it even for banking or any business, you don't want a third-party brand showing up in your brand.
Correct,
So, and I mean, recently there are several examples of hallucination happening. So that's one of the things which needs to be in tight control. And like I said, it's evolving.
That's actually interesting. And when we're talking about the tech itself, I was actually curious about how about the creative part on that? Like, does the creative part during all these AI-powered chatbots actually also have the effect on the audience itself?
Very, very important. Yep. Very important.
True.
I mean, I think the slides are being shown for Ramadan, right? So each brand needs to build a conversational design and the experience for the customer, and then you have to break it down and make it personalized, right? And a person who's, let's say, an 18-year-old vis-a-vis a person who's in the mid-30s and 50s, you have to build creative, which is very different for each of them. So, like I said, it's a dialogue which you're having with the customer, right? And it's a one-on-one exchange in a conversational AI scenario. So your design and the experience has to be designed for that particular segmentation, and which can tweak the brand accordingly, right? And yes, creative to build conversational experience design is very, very important.
Especially when we talk about in Ramadan, right? So people might say that Ramadan, the big theme, but you need to go down to the personalized level. So if we talk about hyper personalizations, what does the buying pattern or the pattern that Roy is doing in each of those Ramadan? Once you got that first party data, you can learn about it, and you get enriched. So in the old days when you just know Roy based on his PII, address, phone number, now it's go beyond that. Now Roy are being understand as a human of his behavior, what he's like, why he dislike, and then again follow up to what kind of creative that he loves, right? AI helps give these options. AI give you a help in hand of to have the right copyrights or the most interesting. I think that's what ChatGPT is actually helping a lot of marketeers. But don't let ChatGPT drives you, because then it doesn't work that way. And we've experienced it doesn't work that way.
So to recap, maybe for instance, like ChatGPT, like we make them to be the brainstorm partner instead of like we're following on what they are suggesting only.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a tool, right? Everybody uses it as a tool, and it helps in your daily life. I mean, I've seen people building their CVs. I use ChatGPT functions for various reasons, which automates my effort, right? I think it's as we go along in marketing specifically, you're going to see a lot more utilization of personalized AI functionalities as we go along. I mean, ChatGPT is just a front-end window, which...
Okay, I think I'm gonna jump into the last questions because the time is closing in. Okay. It's more about into like how the Gen Z thing, because everyone now is targeting Gen Z, and because they have like a lot of information overstimulated. Like, how can we win them with this technology that we have? Maybe.
Absolutely. So, because the good thing is that with Gen Z, they are actively using apps. That means they're feeding tons of information. What they do, what they don't like, what they're doing in the apps, what they're actually, they put it on a cart and they put it back, or they put it on a cart, they don't do anything about it. So, and if they have a campaign running, they're going to say, I don't like that. So there's a lot of tons of feedback that coming to become your first party data. Now, with the engine like MoEngage, what happened is that it get richer about marketers understanding. I give an example. The simplest name, Roy is as a Gen Z. You give him tons of promotion, he might not care. Mm-hmm. You give him 3 promotions that personalized towards him, and you know what? Sometimes even the simplest of nudging him by his name, give him extra personalizations. That actually helps. Like for instance, if you channel it through WhatsApp, mentioning his name, that will be a different response for the Gen Z. So again, Gen Z is a hyper-personalized individuals that would love any brand to reach to them and understand what they like and don't like, and not to be too pushy. So then that plays the role of creativity in how you make sure that it does not actually become a hard-selling campaign.
Interesting. Gen Z has, I believe, a very short attention span, right?
Yeah.
But Gen Z also are very loyal to certain brands, right? So, yeah, I mean, in Singapore, just now there's a Taylor Swift thing happened, and it's a huge moneymaker. And then huge target audience is the Gen Z. So brands are looking at that particular segment, and we see that particular segment is fundamentally using conversation as their front-end engagement channel, right? If you actually look at all the apps today, they have conversational buttons there, right? I mean, some function, some don't function. But the Gen Z, as I know, are engaging on a short conversation and instant. So whatever we design from a marketing perspective has to be designed for that target segment, personalized, with a very short attention span. So you imagine the creative has to design something which has that particularly short attention span to capture that customer, right? So yeah, and they are the new segment which is coming into the market, right?
Yeah. It's actually interesting. So to sum it up, like actually AI helps us, not like replacing us, to help us to get more relevant to our audience, especially during Ramadan, where everything is like kind of screaming to them, screaming information and promotions. And I believe with the conversational omni-channel and also the customer segmentation, it will also help us to get close more to them.
Yeah,
Thank-
absolutely.
Thank you for that.